Did someone leave you and now you think your world is over? Namaste and hello, my name is Shivika and I'm the founder CEO. Okay, well today I'm just Shivika. I'm just Shivika, this person sitting right in front of you, and I'm here to talk about my personal experiences that have shaped the person I am, that have impacted my life through the last 26 years, and that have made me the person and that I am today, and are responsible for shaping my mindset and for shaping my personality. I really wanted to keep these videos very, very casual, very, very to the point, and just in my very fabric, just sharing what I've been through and just sharing my lessons of life so that those lessons can help you become the best version of yourself. And we've all been in this situation where we felt that a lot of people come in our lives and a lot of people leave, and we've been in that place where we felt that if someone has gone from our lives, it's terrible. We think that it's the end of the world, but it's really not. But yes, talking about the moment when we feel it's the end of the world, I have been in that place a lot of times. 26 years I'm in, yes, a lot of times. So what I really learned from those experiences of mine has been a very, very crucial and valuable to me, because I think we're always so surrounded by people most times that we tend to forget that people are a part of our lives. They're not our lives. And the distinction is very, very difficult to make sometimes, because we tend to make people so very, we tend to give them places in our lives that can be so difficult to let go of. And I did the same kind of mistake at one point, and at so many different points, but the one point that I'm going to be talking about today. And I feel that you should not make people your lives. They are a part of your lives. I remember back in 2019, I was working with a team for my startup, and I remember personally things weren't going too well for me, and I was going through this very rough patch personally, and I was back in England then, so basically alone. I didn't have my family around me or my siblings or my friends, because everybody was back in India. And I didn't have too many friends there back then, because it was soon after masters and everybody headed back to India, and I was just there by myself. So personally things weren't going well, and I remember getting this call one morning where my team called up and said that we're not going to be working anymore. And just the previous day I had gone through a lot personally, and the next day this call came up early morning, and I was like, what's happening? Is my world shattering down? Is everything just collapsing for me? Is everything that I worked for the last 8 months is coming to an end? And I started crying. I started feeling so left out. I felt so alone at that point. And that phase ended for the last 3-4 days, where I didn't know what to do. I couldn't find any answer, and I know it was a very, very dark place to be in, where you feel lonely and you don't know what to do. Your team has left. The very startup you were working on has no team, and it's a fintech startup, so I don't have the tech knowledge. So who's going to do it? Can I sit down and start learning to code, or what do I do? And it was my first startup, so I didn't know where to go, what to do, how to deal with the situation where teams are just calling up and leaving, and there were no contracts, because yes, first startup, I was just learning on the go. And I remember 3 to 4 days later, I realized that if I stay here, then I am going to be I'm not going to be in a good place, and it's not going to help me in any way. So I remember I decided to head back home, and I came to India after that. And I remember coming home and feeling a sense of relief. I remember coming home and feeling a sense of safety, because I didn't feel safe there anymore. I was like, everything is just breaking up. Everything is just falling apart for me. And I didn't know why, because it had only been 6-7 months that I had started working on my venture, and I didn't know that this was something that would come up. And who knows? I mean, who knows? It just happens, and then that's when you figure it out. And then I stayed back in India for the next 2 months, and then left back to the UK after staying with my family for 2 months. And I remember before going back, I did kind of arrange for another team. But those 2 months, I really reflected upon what had happened, why it had happened, both personally and professionally, and what I did wrong, what went wrong, and a lot of other things. I really sat down and kind of corrected a lot of my mistakes that I made, and also taught myself certain lessons that I needed to know, because this will happen all the time. And that's what I'm actually talking about, that people, teams, families, your boyfriend, girlfriend, your friends, anyone will come and go out of your life. That's the very natural process of life. You're not always going to be friends with your first standard friend, or you're not always going to be closest to the same sibling that you were in the beginning phase of your life. But by the middle phase of your life, things change, people change, and people have different priorities, and people will always come and go. The two lessons that I really learned at that point in time, and I hope this helps you too, are: number one, people will always come and go. They are part of your lives, not your lives. So do not depend heavily on any one person for everything, because that really makes it so difficult to move on. If you highly start depending on one person, that you kind of are putting all your energies in one direction, which can be very, very harmful to you when things don't work right. So I had made the mistake of putting all my energy into this one team, and I thought everything is going to be fine, which didn't work out. And that really made me feel that everything's done with. So that's the number one lesson. Please don't depend heavily on one person. People are only part of your lives. They're not your entire lives. They will always come and go. I mean, these are small little lessons in that one lesson, but you get the point. And the second lesson that I really, really learned was that it's important to reflect upon what has gone wrong, take the learnings, and then just move on. You can't be holding on to the sad parts of your life or the broken parts of your life and think of having a bright future, because that never happens. All you got to do is reflect upon what happened, what went wrong, where were you wrong, how you can correct it, how can you make things right, and take the lessons, absorb the whole situation, the whole scenario, and then move on, because life is too long to be holding on to grudges and to be holding on to the sad parts, because there's so much bright happening out there, and you really want to be part of that, instead of always thinking that, oh my god, my life has just collapsed and nothing is going to change. Because there's always a tomorrow, there's always hope, and there's always a bright light at the end of the tunnel, which you need to see, and you need to wait to get to the end of the tunnel and not be like, oh, the tunnel's end is here, why is the bright light not there? So give things time, take your own time, and reflect upon the situation, and don't dwell on it for too long, because it will only damage you and nobody else. So don't restrict yourself from growing, and don't restrict yourself from becoming the best version of yourself, like I always say. And I hope this video helps you to understand that everything is just a part of life. It comes and goes, and you just got to move past it and learn from it. I'll see you next Tuesday with another life chapter, another story that can help you grow, become the best version of yourself.